Hello, listeners. I'm your host, Amara, and this is Black Girl Gone, a true crime podcast. On this episode of Black Girl Gone, we tell the story of Tabitha Queen, who was 29 years old when she went missing on May 10th, 2021, in Bastrop, Louisiana. That day, Tabitha left her home to go to a local grocery store. She was seen on surveillance footage there, but after she left, no one ever saw Tabitha again. Her oldest daughter said that before she disappeared, a man had threatened to kill her mom. After she vanished, her car was found abandoned. But a year and a half after Tabitha was last seen, she is still missing. Where is Tabitha? And what happened to her May 10th, 2021? This is Tabitha's story. If you have listened to Tamara's story already, then you know that this week I decided to do something different. I wanted to tell both Tabitha and Tamara's stories because both of their cases have been underreported and have not received a fraction of the attention that they deserve. Both of these episodes are shorter than normal episodes, and that's because we have such limited information about the victims and the circumstances around their disappearances. But I wanted to make sure that we continue to highlight the stories of the missing, even when the information is limited. Because even when we don't have much, what we do know about what happened deserves to be told over and over until their families find out exactly what happened. In 2021, 29-year-old Tabitha was living in Bastrop, Louisiana, where she was raising her 3 children. But the day after Mother's Day in 2021, she disappeared. And now, for the past year and a half, her family has been desperately searching for her. Everyone who knows Tabitha said that she was a good mom. She loved her children, and so when she didn't come back after a trip to the supermarket, her family knew that something had happened to her. Like Tamara, there isn't a lot of information about Tabitha's life growing up or about her life in the months prior to her missing. But on May 10th, 2021, Tabitha left her 3 kids at home to make what was supposed to be a quick run to the grocery store. According to Tabitha's oldest daughter, she left their home around 11 a.m. to head to the Save You More grocery store in Bastrop. Surveillance footage from that day captured Tabitha entering the store, and then after several minutes, she was seen leaving. But it was the last time that anyone ever saw Tabitha again. 2 days later, Tabitha's 3 children were found inside their home, alone. Now, immediately, her family called the police and filed a missing persons report. According to Tabitha's mom, Mary, Tabitha would not have left her children at home alone like that.
Because she would have never in her life left 3 babies in a house by themselves. She don't even leave them with family members but an hour. She would have never left her kids like that. That's how I know something was wrong.
From the start, Mary was unhappy about the way police were handling her daughter's disappearance. She, like many families, found herself trying to convince police that her daughter was not just missing voluntarily. Something had happened to her. But they were left to do much of the searching on their own with members of the community. And as they began to look deeper, they found out that prior to her going missing, some weird things were going on in Tabitha's life. The last time Tabitha's mom spoke to her was on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 9th. She said that when she spoke to her daughter, she said that she was driving, and she could hear 2 men in the background. Mary said that she asked Tabitha who she was with, but she said that Tabitha abruptly ended the call, telling Mary that she had to go before hanging up. Mary said that she called Tabitha's phone right back, but it went straight to voicemail. And it was the last time that she spoke to her. When her daughter went missing, she recalled that moment. And when her granddaughter told her about two men threatening her mom, she knew that someone had done something to her daughter. According to Tabitha's oldest daughter, who was 10 at the time, her mom had allowed a man to borrow her car a few days before she went missing. She said that when he returned the car, he was with another man. And she said that her mom was inspecting the car after it was returned and noticed a foul smell coming from the car. Her daughter said that Tabitha asked the man what the smell was, but it's not clear if he gave her an answer. After noticing the smell, Tabitha looked in the back where the spare tire was kept and found what looked like blood. According to her daughter, Tabitha got upset and then told the man that he couldn't borrow her car anymore, which made the man angry. And he called Tabitha a bitch and then told her that he was going to kill her. And then later that same day, her daughter said that a van came by the house and that someone tried to force Tabitha inside. Now, police have not said publicly whether or not they looked into that incident or if they found anything, but the story that Tabitha's daughter told was disturbing, and it could lead police right to the person responsible for her disappearance. But in the days after Tabitha went missing, there was very little information being released to the public. In interviews, Mary had complained about the lack of attention her daughter's case received from the local PD. Mary said that police did very little and would not search for her daughter in those early days after she vanished. Mary spoke to KNOE 8 and said this.
I'm not going to stop fighting until I find my daughter. And by them telling me that they don't have no evidence, that's not buying with me. Y'all didn't do the proper search. Y'all didn't do no kind of search for my daughter. It's just crazy. You know, for a mother to not see her child for these many days and don't know where she's at. So I want answers.
Mary found herself in the same place many families of missing Black people find themselves in. She wasn't getting the help or attention for her daughter that she deserved, but she was going to try to do her best to find her child anyway. Starting on June 4th, 2021, Tabitha's family and members of the community conducted searches for Tabitha daily. In one of the searches at a local park, volunteers found a gun that was hidden behind some trash bags, and it was taken into evidence by police, but they couldn't say whether or not it was connected to Tabitha's disappearance. On June 9th, police released surveillance footage to the public that showed a man dropping Tabitha's car off in a remote area. The unidentified man is seen getting out of the car and then calmly walking away. The video is chilling, but for Tabitha's mom, Mary, the release came too late. Apparently, the police had the footage for weeks, but decided to hold off on releasing it. And that made Mary upset. She said this, quote, "First of all, when that video showing that man, they should have released it. Not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4 days, not a month. It should have been released then, ASAP." Police said that they released the video because they needed help identifying the man, saying, quote, "There were certain elements of this investigation that we wanted to keep to ourselves. But now, since we did as much investigation as we could on it, That's why we released it now, said the detective working the case. It's not clear what was found in the car, but police did send items to a crime lab to be tested. Now, at the time the surveillance footage was released, police claimed that they had spoken to several people who knew Tabitha, but had not been able to name a suspect or a person of interest. Tabitha's family continued their efforts to find her, but they were not finding anything useful. In the weeks and months following Tabitha's disappearance, Mary began hearing less and less from the detectives leading the case. In November 2021, 6 months after Tabitha vanished, Mary again spoke to KNOE8 and said that she had not heard from the police in Bastrop in months. She was angry with how police continued to handle her daughter's case, and she wanted the FBI to get involved because she felt like the local police were not doing enough. But when they were interviewed, detectives at the time said that they did have a person of interest. However, they would not say who that person was. They did say that they were waiting for results to come back from the crime lab and that they believed that those results would give them more information. They said that they didn't believe that they needed the FBI to get involved. But after that statement, Tabitha's case went cold. Her family kept searching for her and asking people for help, but there was no sign of Tabitha. Her three children went to live with family, but it was very difficult for them, especially her oldest daughter. From the start, Mary was unsatisfied with the lack of urgency in her daughter's case, but she also believed that one of Tabitha's friends knows what happened to her. Police have never said, at least publicly, that I could find, that Tabitha may have met with foul play, but the evidence seems to point in that direction. 1 year after Tabitha went missing, police announced that they had run out of leads in the case and they were officially at a dead end. They never made public what evidence was found in Tabitha's car or who the person of interest was that they said they had 6 months prior. Now, they did claim that that person was still a person of interest and was serving time for a different crime. But the case was now cold, and they were now admitting that they may need to ask an outside agency for help, which was something that Mary had been asking for from the start. Since then, there's been no information released about Tabitha's case. The last story that I could find was from May 2022 when KNOE marked the 1 year anniversary of Tabitha's disappearance. But since then, nothing. It's not clear if the local PD has reached out to the FBI for help, but Tabitha's family is still desperately awaiting answers about what happened to her. They want some kind of closure. Police claim that they were not giving up until they found out what happened to Tabitha. But as we quickly approach 2023, her family isn't any closer to bringing her home than they were the day that she disappeared. The day after Mother's Day 2021, both a mother and three children lost the closest person to them. Mary has poured her heart and soul into trying to find her daughter, and there have been many times throughout this process that Mary didn't feel like a priority to the police. If it wasn't for the community and local media, Tabitha's family would have most likely been alone in their efforts. Tabitha's case, like Tamara's case, is frustrating because of the lack of information about the investigations. When someone goes missing, those first few hours and days are the most critical, and Delays in investigating causes important evidence and information to be lost. In many cases, we don't have surveillance footage. But in this case, we have footage of Tabitha at the last place that she was known to be. And we have footage of a strange, unidentified man dumping her car. So much and so little all at the same time, because none of it has led to Tabitha. What happened to Tabitha after she left the grocery store? Tabitha left behind 3 children whose lives have been turned upside down. And there's someone out there that knows what happened to her. As of 2021, there are only 9,467 people that live in the city of Bastrop. I know people are talking. I know someone knows something. And it's time to come forward and help this family. Tabitha Queen was last seen on May 10th, 2021 at the Save You More grocery store in Bastrop, Louisiana. Tabitha is now 30 years old. She is 5'4" and weighs 230 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information about Tabitha's whereabouts or the circumstances of her disappearance, please contact the Bastrop, Louisiana Police Department. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. It also helps our show grow. As always, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook.